I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, Milwaukee is going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Things both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Here we go at Oakmont. Let's start with the course. What do we know about this course? How long is the rough, and does course history come into effect for you this week?
The U.S. Open has always been billed as the most difficult test of golf there is on the planet. And I tell you what, it's often labeled as the most difficult golf course in the world is Oakmont.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Commissioner Roger Goodell's successor, longtime NFL exec Brian Rolapp, is becoming the PGA Tour's first ever CEO. Well, what does this mean for the PGA Tour and NFL? Plus, ahead of Father's Day weekend, NBA legend Del Curry talks Curry family business, including Steph potentially following in his broadcasting footsteps. Well, hello and welcome into Front Office Sports today from our FOS studios in New York City. I'm Renee Washington. Happy to be back.
We missed you, Renee. So happy to have you back. And thank you so much for joining us. Of course, every weekday, Renee and I are chatting the biggest stories happening in the business and culture of sports. Of course, we're also chatting women's tackle football a little bit later on with the CEO of the Women's National Football Conference. But let's first dive into some of the headlines we're watching in the shoot-around.
Yes, Baker. Something people are not watching as much. The Indiana Pacers up 2-1 in the NBA Finals over the best team in the regular season, the Oklahoma City Thunder. But as we head into Game 4 tonight, ratings are down. Now, after we saw the first 2 games average just under 9 million viewers for a 24% drop from last year, outside of the bubble seasons, Heat Lakers Finals, it was the lowest since 2007. Well, Game 3 had a slight bump to average a little over 9 million viewers at 9.19 Wednesday on ABC. But that's still down nearly 20% from last year, Baker. We've been talking about this, but Commissioner Adam Silver's been talking about it too, saying he's not worried because when you compare the NBA Finals to any other TV program, especially outside of sports, looking past the last 20 years, they're in a good place. Their numbers are fine.
Look, you're right. This was a concern when you have 2 small market teams in 2 very parts of middle America. You're not getting the New Yorks, the LAs, the Dallases, or the Bostons all attached to this, that the ratings would be down. But there is a hope, and our Colin Salau points this out in his story on frontofficesports.com, that maybe if this game goes 6 or 7 games, which it looks like it could, maybe we see the increase of the ratings go up. By the way, we have not had a 6 games final since 2022. That was Warriors-Celtics. And by the way, we haven't had a Game 7, I didn't know this, in the NBA Finals since 2016. Wow. That was LeBron and the Cavs versus Steph Curry and the Warriors. That game, by the way, got 31 million people to watch. That seems like a relic that will never be able to get close.
Playoffs. But we did also hear Colin said this is still one of the most watched programs across TV since the Super Bowl. I'm watching it. I'm loving it. Well, also after falling short of their first program national title to Texas in the Women's College World Series, Texas Tech is making some big down south southern transfer moves. Now, they've already had a big summer last year signing Nigeri Kennedy to a historic $1 million NIL deal, which is the first ever of a softball player. And then this summer, they're just continuing the trend, Baker, and already they've signed the number 3, 5, and 6, and number 28 players on On3 Sports transfer portal. So when you look at this list of players, whether it's Florida second baseman All-American Mia Williams, who's the daughter of White Chocolate, Jason Williams, the NBA player, Caitlin Terry, who's UCLA's pitcher that was freshman of the year for the Pac-12. They also just added in after signing 3 All-Americans in a business week, just in the last 24 hours, they've also added in Taylor Purnell, who's the latest All-American transfer from Tennessee. So they're like the Yankees of the 1927 Major League Baseball stack. That's what people on social media are saying.
Well,
I
you're
can't take
calling
credit.
them the Yankees. I'm like, are they the Dodgers? Who are they? I mean, and by the way, Kennedy is a senior next year, so she returns next year after her incredible performance she had this last season. There's been a lot of talk about the fact that the NIL collective, the Matador Club with Texas Tech, and an outside group are the ones who are recruiting these players, because we know the coaches specifically cannot. Sports Illustrated went into this a little bit more. I think that's really fascinating that the NIL collectives are the ones that are talking to these players.
It does feel like the Red Raiders have found the NIL loophole in terms of softball transfers. Well, over in the NHL, Winnipeg Jets goalie Connor Hellebuck was named the 2025 Hart Memorial Trophy winner and the Vezina winner. Now, the news was announced prior to Game 4 last night on the NHL broadcast, and this is coming off a season where he was in the first of his 7-year, $59.5 million contract extension he signed in 2023. He led the NHL in every major stat in terms of save percentage, goals against, and he also became a goalie to win 2nd consecutive Vezina and 3rd overall in the last 6 seasons. Talk about some dominance.
Well, in terms of that record, which is incredible, you mentioned 3rd win in the last 6 seasons. He's in an elite class of other goalies who have been able to do this. Patrick Waugh, Dominic Hasek, Martin Brodeur, the only goalies to have done this since 1981. By the way, he's also the 8th goalie to ever win the Hart Trophy, and also the 6th time that this has ever happened that you have a goalie win both the Vezina and the Hart. He is in rare territory right here.
One of the best in the world. Over in the NFL, Roger Goodell's successor, Brian Rolapp, has accepted a new position with the PGA Tour. What does his move to become the first CEO of the PGA Tour mean for the leagues? Let's get into that in the main event. Now to discuss Rolapp's move to the PGA Tour more, we welcome in our FOS newsletter writer, David Rumsey. David, nice to see you again. A little different from us hanging at the Oakmont Country Club covering the U.S. Open yesterday, but we're still talking golf. Nice to have you here. Brian Rolapp moves into a new role with the PGA Tour, the first time ever that they have someone become the CEO. And his media experience, in my opinion, of looking at what he's done with the NFL, $110 billion in media deals that he was a part of. Are you thinking that's possibly why the PGA Tour was very interested in bringing him over, especially given their concerns and issues around LIV Golf and their future and what the PGA Tour is going to look like in terms of media deals specifically?
Yeah, absolutely, Renee. You hit it right on the head there. The PGA Tour's media rights deals with CBS, NBC, and ESPN actually run through 2030, but those are coming up before we know it. And obviously, you guys both know those are 3 partners that are partners with the NFL, who Rolapp knows very well. And the NFL partners with pretty much anybody and everybody that might be interested in the PGA Tour in the future, whether that's traditional networks or streamers. And he has those relationships, and all the sources that I've talked to since his name has really emerged as the leading candidate. It's a huge hire for the PGA Tour, pretty much their top candidate. So a big win for the PGA Tour, especially on the media front, which, as we know, is very important for sports leagues these days.
Another big question here in terms of Rolapp's relationships, somebody he has had a relationship with for a long time is Scott O'Neill, the CEO over at LIV Golf. I'm assuming this is going to be something that maybe benefits both the PGA Tour and LIV Golf. So how do you feel like Rolapp helps this situation between these two industries? Or sorry, between these two groups?
Yeah, Baker. It's just a complete contrast to several years ago when you only had Jay Monahan as the commissioner, and then you had Greg Norman as the commissioner CEO at LIV Golf. And those two did not get along, probably still don't get along, even though they're not going to be the ones negotiating anymore. So that butting heads was never going to work. And Monahan wanted Norman out. Norman didn't like Monahan. So now as we move forward with Rolapp kind of really operating the business operations for the PGA Tour as that CEO role, and then his relationship with Scott O'Neill goes all the way back to the late 90s. They were both at Harvard Business School together. So I don't know exactly what they were doing together back in those days, but obviously some great education and some familiarity, which is certainly going to help as those two tours try to figure out what they're going to do moving forward.
Yeah, looking at the 22 years that Rolapp had with the NFL, many thought he was going to be the successor for Roger Goodell to be commissioner of the league, especially with Goodell's contract expiring in 2027. But now it makes people wonder, is he going to be in line to become commissioner of the PGA Tour and Jay Monahan's role? What are your thoughts on just kind of what this means for the PGA Tour? Is it too early to tell, or do you see this as possibly a stepping stone for him?
Yeah, so a couple different threads there. It's just such a unique scenario because you typically don't have a league with a commissioner and a CEO. Usually it's one or the other. So I don't my sense is that Rollup is not gonna kick Monahan out and take over that commissioner title per se, but maybe as the PGA Tour evolves, maybe one day Monahan does step down. Maybe it's in a few years, maybe it's sooner than we think. And really, a lot of his business responsibilities are just transferred to Rollup as the CEO. And there could be a new sort of commissioner that comes in is really more player focused on tournaments and rules and things like that, while Rollup as the CEO really leads media rights, sponsorship, revenue, partnerships, all of those type of things.
And our Mike McCarthy is saying that maybe a lot of the names to replace Rollup at the NFL might be internal. Is that sort of the expectation here, that the NFL might just stay inside?
Yeah, they put out a statement, or in their memo to team owners and presidents yesterday, saying that they've been preparing for this. They have a big, like McCarthy was saying, they have a lot of people there that can take up his slack. But yeah, they might bring on a new hire, they might promote somebody. But Goodell has been doing this for a long time, and he really leads a lot of this anyways. So I don't think they're too worried about this, especially since they've known this was coming probably for several months.
Very interesting, as now we see the new role for the former NFL Chief Media and Business Officer becoming the first ever CEO over at the PGA Tour. David, thank you so much for jumping in, as always, and weighing in on what's going on.
Thanks, guys. Great to see you.
Well, up next, we have a super dad and NBA legend, Del Curry, that's joining us here ahead of Father's Day weekend. He's talking business ventures with his kids and also maybe Steph following in his broadcasting footsteps. We've got to get into that and more right after this quick break here on FOS Today.
Right now have awoken. Maybe they are the best team out in the West, because a rooting interest for me, Tom, always the Mariners. Hey, they're finally getting the hitting back, but now that's starting to slide.
We can make the case for the Rangers. They showed some things. A team that the Rangers, you and I were both very high on coming into the season. They make a shot for the wild card, but I do think it's going to be a two-team race between the Astros and the Mariners, and that's really about it.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to back 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back into Front Office Sports Today alongside Baker. I'm Renee, and we're now joined by a former NBA player that retired as the Hornets' all-time leader in points and three-pointers, Del Curry, one half of one of the best local broadcasts across the league with the Charlotte Hornets. Del, it's so nice to have you here on the show with us.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. Looking forward to it. Yeah,
I want to jump right in because the Curry family is known so much for all of your sports accolades, whether it's your 3 kids or their respective spouses, but also on the business side. There's been so much success and positive news that always comes out around your 3. And I'm curious to know, especially looking at like Steph's, for example, 30 Inc. generating $174 million in revenue last year, all of its businesses profitable, how you as their father really helped give them advice to help them pave their own lane, as well as being able to support them through that?
Well, they were fortunate enough, obviously, to be around me and a lot of my teammates throughout my 16-year career. And they saw the philanthropy that me and my teammates displayed, and they've taken off with that. They understand that they're blessed to play in the NBA, make a lot of money, get some resources, and it's important that you give back to your community. So all my kids are able to do that in their own way. Steph, obviously, on a bigger stage in the Bay Area, and he really cherishes that opportunity to help kids out, and Steph and Sadell as well. So I'm very proud of not only the players that they are, but more importantly the people that they are and how they understand that community means a lot to them. They're able to give back, and they do it in their own way. But they do what they can, and they're happy to do it. So that makes a father really, really proud.
Well, we know Steph has sort of indicated that he wants to get into broadcasting and media whenever he's done playing. As somebody who is doing broadcasting now for the Charlotte Hornets, how do you think Steph will do in the booth?
He'll do great. I mean, he's a smart guy. Went to Davidson, got his degree. He's very articulate. His answers are well thought out. He knows the game. And it's not rocket science when you're an analyst. You just talk about what's going on and give your opinion of what coaches and players are thinking. I'm one of 30 guys that are able to sit and watch games and talk about what's going on, and I don't take that for granted as well. Michael Jordan just got announced he's back next year in the booth as well on stage. So I think when Steph or Seth, when they retire, it's always something that they'll look into. Seth is always been very studious about the game. When he was young, he'd be in the back seat of the car drawing up plays, and he'd say, "Hey, Pops, you think this would work?" So both those guys pay attention to their craft. They watch games on their days off. But to be able to talk about it and kind of give your opinion, it's great. I really enjoy my job. I just finished my 16th career here with the Hornets. Love every single minute of it. Travel with the team, hang out with the guys. So I'm in it just enough to keep me occupied, keep me busy, keep me a fan of the game, a fan of the sport, and a fan of the Hornets. So I love what I do.
I'm curious to know, how have you been able to help not only your own family, but other players maybe even really understand that after you're done playing, there's a whole new career path that's there for you, whether it's business ventures, being an investor, being a part of a broadcast, whatever that may look like.
Yeah, I talk. That's one thing I try to do when I'm around the guys. They call me the OG, and they always ask me, what it was like when I played in the league. And I said, hey, you want to be the best player you can be, but also a good guy. You don't want to burn any bridges. Right now, I tell players all the time, while you're in the sport, you obviously want to focus and be the best player you can, but always think about what you want to do. You're going to have a lot of life to live and a lot of ways to give back, whether it be as an analyst, maybe an owner. I know Steph talked about that. But you always, it's the game that you grew up, you're playing the league, you love, you want to stay in it. And even if you're not in that avenue, like you said, there's different avenues as far as investments and being a businessman, the ways that you can also stay around the game.
And actually, I want to piggyback off that, Del. Is there anything else you're looking to get involved in outside of broadcasting and golf tournaments and things? Is there anything else in terms of your own career path, investment, ownership that you're considering?
Not at this stage. I'm about to be 61 in a couple of days, and my life's good. Yeah, I ride the coattails of what my kids are doing. I help them out any way possible. But I love my life right now. And, I don't want to get too busy. I like the time that I have away from the game in the off season. But when during the season, I'm wrapped up in calling games. And enjoying being a fan of the game and a fan of my sons and son-in-law. So I'm good where I'm at right now.
Del, with the 90 seconds we got left with you, obviously Game 4 tonight of the NBA Finals. This series has been incredible. Yeah. Given that we have SGA and Hallie doing so good, do you feel like we now are seeing the future face of the league playing right before us right now in the finals?
Yeah, I love the parity that's in the league right now. You probably could have picked OKC to get this far, but I don't know if anybody had Indiana playing in the finals this season. the NBA is in a very healthy place with the number of teams that are really good and going to get better. Charlotte here, we've got the 4th pick in the draft. We're going to get a really good player to continue building back the franchise that the Charlotte teams here deserve. But yeah, I love where the league is at. Everybody is trying to get better. Everybody's trying to play a different way. But this is a very exciting finals here. It's a big game tonight. I think the winner of the game tonight may hold up that trophy at the end of the day. So I'm going to tune in just like I have all the games and look forward to it.
Yeah, it definitely feels like today, obviously a pivotal game for both teams. But as we are wrapping up here, it is Father's Day weekend. What is Father's Day like for the Curry family? Really quickly in the final 30 seconds here.
Well, we have a golf trip scheduled starting next week. My 2 boys and we've got some guys, some of my buddies going on. It's a one of a lifetime bucket list golf trip. But I'm just going to hang out on the boat this weekend, kind of troll around the lake here, Lake Norman up here in Charlotte, relax by the pool a little bit, work on my golf game for that trip we have coming up. But I just like to relax and take it easy.
You
Perfect.
deserve it.
Absolutely perfect way to spend the Father's Day weekend and celebrate your kids, your grandkids, and be with family.
Yeah.
So Del, thank you so much for being with us and carving out time on this Friday to jump on the show and just share some insight on all the great things you guys have going on.
My pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me. You have a great weekend.
With that, we're going to have a quick break here on Front Office Sports Today, and we'll be right back after this one.
13 total, 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back, because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Welcome back into Front Office Sports Today alongside Baker. I'm Renee, and now we're welcoming in a winner, the winningest head coach in women's tackle football history, holder of 8 world titles, 3 gold medals, and the CEO of Women's National Football Conference, a full contact women's professional football league, Odessa Jenkins. Welcome to Front Office Sports Today. So happy to have a GOAT, a queen, a boss on the show today.
What's good, y'all? It's so nice to be here.
And if you look, by the way, at some of the TikTok videos and videos I've seen on social media, I mean, this is real football. This is the hits are real.
Yes.
Everything
It's not
about
flag,
this is real.
it's not-
The passes are incredible. You're seeing some of the best athletes in the entire country in this. Odessa, we know women's sports is having this incredible moment right now. As somebody who's building a league literally from scratch, what have you sort of learned about the process so far?
You know, I think in this women's sports boom, what I've learned is that there is a thirst and a hunger for just watching the highest level of sport, whether it's women or men. And the WNFC happens to be the highest level of tackle football, like you said, in the world. Division I athletes, the left tackle for the Spartans is a former WNBA player, right? There's that, which on the field is just getting better and better and better. And then I think off the field, we're starting to see a lot of investment interest. We just raised our seed capital. We're going to raise more capital. And ultimately, the goal is to continue to drive financial awareness, to drive investment, to drive eyeballs, so that when little girls wake up and think about what they want to be in life, they can think about being quarterbacks and linebackers, maybe even D tackles. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, let's talk more about that, because since you founded the league back in 2019, you've openly talked about how you've had to pay players or pay for things in general out of your own pocket. And salaries has been one of those issues where players, many may not realize, are not getting paid salaries sometimes at all. So what have you guys been really investing in, and how's that been changing, I should say, over the last 6 years to provide players the opportunity to truly be professional paid athletes?
Listen, when I started to play this game back in 2008 as a Division I basketball player who just loved football, it was really a club sport. We'd be out practicing in grass fields with the lights from our cars, being the lights because we can afford practice lights. Fast forward just a few years later, and now we've got giant brand sponsors. We've got investment. We're paying out at least bonuses to our players. We're housing them. We're making sure all pros don't have to pay for hotels and these kind of things. So while we're not at a place where women are making a good base salary to play professional football yet, we're so far away from where we used to be.
What's next? I mean, the season, of course, championship weekend coming up, and this last minute, can you let us know, what can people expect for season 7?
Yeah, I mean, bigger hits, bigger stages, more women playing football. I think that's the other thing. I think with the Olympics coming in 2028, flag football, what flag football is doing, USA Football, NFL, what they're all doing is they're putting more footballs in the hands of girls and women. And when you put a ball in the hand of a girl, she goes, okay, well, I want to play football. And when she looks up, she's going to see the WNFC. And that's going to equal more globalization of the sport, more women and girls wanting to get involved, and more families thinking, you know what? Maybe my daughter is a tackle, a Mike linebacker, and maybe there's an opportunity for her. So I think season 7 equals more opportunity financially for these women, more girls seeing a place for them to play when they grow up and finish college, and more fans coming in and finding out that this is the best thing they've never seen.
Amen. Love
Preach.
this.
The time is now. Odessa, thank you so much for taking time to join us, and thrilled to see all your incredible work that you're doing to help grow the sport of tackling football for women.
Thank you so much for having me.
And now let's see what's bubbling over the FOS water cooler. It was date night at Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals for Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift in their coordinated matching sweatsuits to watch Edmonton defeat Florida in overtime. And listen, the broadcast ran away with it. Wayne Gretzky, the great one, was sitting with them. We saw it all over social media, and NHL fans were complaining, enough Taylor Swift mentioned. But Baker reminded me of what the Indiana Pacers and NBA have been doing with Caitlin Clark, mentioning her, showing her, even having graphics about them being undefeated in the postseason when she's in attendance. We know that Swift and Clark bring big ratings, and they're running away with it.
Makes you wonder what her, Travis, and Wayne Gretzky were even talking about, especially because Wayne Gretzky was asking what the Pink Pony Club was the other day on the TNT broadcast. I like that she's going and doing doing other sports besides just Chiefs games. And apparently she hasn't been to an NHL game in a while. And also apparently she was seeing Donna Kelsey in Florida before Donna Kelsey went off to Scotland to go film The Traitors the next season, which I think is going to be great.
That's your favorite show. And hopefully this is your favorite show because we hope you guys have a great weekend watching the NBA Finals, NHL Stanley Cup Finals, and then back on more to watch us as we've got two-time WNBA champ and Finals MVP Sylvia Fowles joining the show to talk about her Hall of Fame induction. Have a great Father's Day weekend. We will see you next time.